Let me guess, it's about to get cold where you are, or maybe it already is. Well, you know what? We got a solution for you. In fact, we got several of them. In fact, we've been covering this so much, the New York Post reached out to us and asked us to chip in on a list of their most highly recommended space heaters to stay warm this winter. I'll put a link to that article. They got another guy from over at Lowe's who gives you his counterpoint, some of his options. So you can take a look at that. But I'm going to show you my list, plus some extras I didn't share with the Post. All right, so let's jump into it. Now, as to why they reached out to us, we've been doing this for about 8 years here on the channel. First of all, I want to thank every one of you who subscribed. We just broke 250,000 subscribers. Huge milestone. Thank you so much for being part of our community. Second of all, we live in Livingston, Montana, up here in the Rockies, stone's throw from Paradise Valley and Yellowstone. Well, we're at 4,500 feet in elevation. Good and cold up here. Maybe not the coldest place in the U.S., but I can probably see it from here. Anyway, let's jump into some of these items. Now, I'm going to start off with the hot stuff first, pun intended. This is going to be my best overall recommendation. I can't find fault with this unit. Now, first thing to say, this is an electric space heater. Most of these are. We got a one propane option here for you. We're also going to have one 220. All the rest are going to be 110. Plug right in. No fuel, nothing else. It just heats, it just goes. You're going to be limited to 1,500 watts max power. That's just the most amount of power you can pull out of a wall outlet for something like that. So that said, though, I love the tower format for these things because you get you the most bang for buck per square foot. So if you're in a small space where you got to get something in there, these tower heaters are great. They can, most of them, like this one here, can rotate, helping diffuse the heat across the room. The Govee has a nice large display on it. It's got a little, you can see on the base there, you see the light down there. It's got a nice little night light. So it's great. So if you're walking, say, through the living room at night and you don't trip over it, something like that. One of the things I truly love about it is it works with the Govee app. Now, Govee, I don't know, honestly, I don't know who they are. I've never worked with them before, but they recently have exploded onto the market, and there's tons of smart stuff. In fact, let me grab my cell phone here. We've got this one right now, this same unit running in our basement. We're in a 140-year-old house here in town, and one of the issues that we have to worry about is the old proverbial freezing water lines. It's just something that happens around here. Well, I can pull up the Govee app here, and I can see there, if you can see it, and it shows me that's the temperature in the basement. I can turn the power on and off. I can set it to do all the fun stuff. I can change all the settings. I can set a whole bunch of stuff in here. Tons of controls here right from your phone. Now, I get it. Well, some heaters, in fact, I've got one, another one. I got the Lasco heater. It comes with a nice little remote, does all the things you'll need it to do. None of the big whiz-bang kind of features like you get on the app. But you know what? Apps are great, or phones are great. But in remotes, I should say, remotes are great. But they get lost. and I may lose my phone, but I eventually find it. Anyway, also my wife and other people can access it. So the Govee here is my favorite all around. It works, it runs, it's a great display. It's got tons of features, and the price currently listed at $130, but don't wait, don't order now. There is a coupon for, get this, $60 off. That's a huge savings on something like that. All right, and my choice for the next category is for the best budget heater. And this one time we're going to go with Tro. Tro is another one of these new brands on the market, but they've been really killing it. Now, full disclosure, they did send us a couple heaters a couple years ago, and it was their first version, and I really liked them. This one's even better. Great display, nice controls. It looks super nice and sleek, kind of modern design to it. Has all the features you're going to need in a nice, small, compact unit. On top of that, it's also super safe. It's got tip-over protection. You're not going to catch anything on fire with it. I feel safe enough to put it in my kids' room in our RV. It must be pretty safe at that point. So, and here you're looking at $37.60, 10% off coupon on that one. We'll put links to everything down below if you're interested. And now for the next, for your best bedroom, let's call it a luxury heater. This is the kind of thing where, you know what, it's more than just a heater, it's furniture. What I like about it is it goes in the corner, gets out of the way, and you don't lose space. It looks nice. It's nice to look at. You got that nice little mantle you can put stuff up on. It puts out a good amount of heat, but it just looks beautiful, and nothing screams luxury like that kind of walnut kind of finish there. I'm a sucker for walnut. I'm sure a bunch of you are right now. I'm looking down at my desk. I have a walnut desk, so it's one of my favorite woods. And with this, the real flame heater there, it comes out with 1,400 watts, equivalent to 4,700 BTUs. This is an excellent heater. It's not an inexpensive heater, $656.17. Don't ask me why they tack on the 17 cents. But anyway, if you're looking for some luxury to put, like maybe in a bedroom or something like that, or the corner of a living room, this is a great way to go. All right, next up, we've got here, this is a great all-around budget tower heater, okay? And I literally have this heater sitting here next to me right here. This is the Lasco oscillating digital ceramic heater. And I bought this one originally for use in our RV. Again, I love the tower heaters because of the conservation of floor space. This one does everything, all the basic stuff you're going to need. It's got a thermostat. You can turn the heat up. You can turn it down. You can set it to pivot. You can do all that stuff. Now, you're not going to get a digital display. You're not going to get all the other whiz-bang features. You're not going to be able to access it from your phone. But when I want to turn it on, helps if I press the right button, it turns on and turns off. It just works. And for $54, $55, let's call it, that's what it is. And it's a solid heater. When these things go on sale, though, you can really get an even better deal when there's a nice coupon or something. But still, at $55, that's a solid heater. But that, I wouldn't say that's like the right home, it's so amazing kind of price. But it's not a terrible price. Now, next, for like the super budget personal heaters, let's talk about Amazon Basics. I'll be honest, a lot of Amazon Basics makes me go, yeah, I don't know. But if you are somebody who travels, who goes around, and you just really can't deal with being cold, my wife is kind of like this. Amazon Basics 500 watt ceramic heater. That's not a lot of heat. Okay, remember, we're talking about 1,500 watts on these other heaters. This is 1/3 that. It doesn't have any features really. It's just a little tiny heater, but you can take it anywhere you go. Maybe you want to go study somewhere, go read somewhere. You got a cold spot in a room. You want to set it on a little side table. This is a great solution for $22.47. Next up, we've got the whole large room kind of heater. And I got to say, Dr. Infrared, they've been doing this a long time. It's a solidly built cabinet. On top of it, it acts more like a piece of furniture. You can set books and other stuff on top of it. You don't have to worry about it overheating, catch anything on fire. It uses an infrared system on the inside to generate heat and then blow it out into the room, and it can cover an entire room. These things can run for hours and hours and hours and run for years and years and years. We've used one in our previous house and never had an issue with it. Unfortunately, it didn't somehow make the trip up here when we moved up to Montana. I'm guessing that it's probably stuck in a box somewhere that we just haven't unpacked. But I got to tell you, for $100, this is a solid whole room heater that you just can't go wrong with. Again, you're looking at 1,500 watts. That's the max capacity you're stuck with those 110 outlets. But it's a beautiful heater. It's good to look at. It's not super loud or anything like that. And it just generates good, consistent heat that can traverse throughout the entire room. Next up, this is going to be a little bit different. The radiator heaters are one of the most, let's call it efficient, and that's what we're talking about. We're looking at efficient heaters here because this heats up. It has an encapsulated oil that's in the system, and it heats up that oil. Now, one thing to be careful about is no matter what they say, anti-scald and stuff like that, that's the handle. The fins themselves will get hot. This is not the heater if you got little kids or animals who are not too bright. But it's made by Dreo. It has a beautiful display. It's got a nice basic remote control. But this is going to generate just continual heat. There's no fan on it. Now, what you can do, of course, is you can take like a box fan or something else on the other side of it, not right up against it, and get it to distribute the heat more if that's an issue for you. But this will just continually give you a rolling heat that comes out of it. It's a soft heat. It's a gentle heat. It's not like that blower kind of heat. It feels like you're in a convection oven. This just warms, and it does a fantastic job of it. That's why radiators are still being used in many buildings, and that people haven't upgraded, because the radiator is such a good way of delivering that heat. And this pulls that in, lets you use that technology, that old school technology. And on top of it, we got a $10 off coupon, taking this down to $106. It's not going to be for everyone, but for those of you who are looking for that kind of heat, this is the way you're going to want to go. Now, next up, let's talk about some serious shop heat, okay? Now, any of these can be used in a shop situation, all right? I generally prefer the tower kind of heater because of space issues in my shop. I'd rather have that so I can put it in a corner. Don't have to worry about tripping over a low fat kind of squat kind of heater like the Dr. Whatchamacallit. Was it Dr. Infrared? Anyway, this heater right here is pretty classic kind of shop heater. Usually you'd bolt it to the ceiling. It's going to run off a 240 though. Okay, so you are probably not going to be able to install this yourself. You're going to want to get an electrician to come out and probably run to 240 to the location where you're going to want to put it. And that's something to take in consideration. $185 though for a heater like this isn't too bad. Now this is going to do 7,500 watts of heat. That's a good solid amount of heat. Now in my space here, I have a 28 by 22 by, I think I got 9.5 foot ceilings. And we're right here. I'm like a stone's throw from the river. It gets cold. It's cold right now, at least outside, but not inside, because I've got this heater. This is the one that came with my shop. Luckily, I didn't have to spend the $400 for it, but I got to tell you, when I have it running, it's got a nice little thermostat system. It's very big. You got a dial. You just turn the dial and you figure out where the temperature is, and that's going to cut off. It'll kick back on if it gets colder than whatever your dial's set at. But I figured out about exact where 72 is on mine. And it is, I'll be honest, it's not quiet when it kicks on fully. It's kind of loud, but it does heat. One heater will heat this entire space from 30 degrees to 72 in under an hour. And actually probably closer to half an hour. I'm pretty happy about that. That is a big deal for me to be able to work, get stuff done. I come in, early in the morning, the sun's just barely creeping over the horizon. It's good and cold. That is like about the coldest time of the day. And this, I have two spaces here, and this is the reason we got this space as an add-on. We call it my studio space versus my actual shop space. My shop space is if you've been around the channel, you've seen it. It's a 100-year-old garage made out of stacked lumber with more holes than Swiss cheese in it. And the wind down here in Livingston's known for its wind, just rips through there. And you get a nice amount of heat built up in there. And you're like, this is great. And then the gust comes up and it's gone like that. Oh, it's so terrible. But you know what I run down there, and what I wouldn't recommend for a shop like this, because this shop is insulated, it's sealed. There's, when the wind can howl and blow, and it doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I don't even hear it in here. But in my other shop, I can run something like this. And this is a propane space heater. This thing will put out the BTUs up to 125,000 BTUs. You're going to hook it up to a propane tank, and it's got a little piezoelectric starter, and it's good to go. And boy, it can heat up a room, but quick. It's variable between 75 and 125,000 BTU. And that's what I love about it, is once I get nice and warm, I can dial it back down so I don't cook anybody. I don't have to turn it on and turn it off and turn it on, turn it off. So that way I can just keep this gentle level going once it gets good and warm. Or once when the wind picks up, I can crank it up, and when the wind goes down, I can set it back down. This is an excellent heater for that kind of space, for a job site, for anything like that. It's got a nice little handle on it. It's plastic, but the construction on it is decent. Mr. Heater's been around for a while. They do a great job. $199. I'll be honest. I'll put a link to it down below. I think I paid $150 for it. They go on sale sometimes. I think they know that it's cold out, and they're going to try and get you to buy this at that price. But I can't say enough about the heater itself. But the caveat is, don't use this indoors. Okay, I can use it in my shop because my shop is, as they say, well ventilated. This puts out carbon monoxide. I get the two confused. Carbon monoxide. And as such, if you are in a situation where it can collect, you could have unfortunate circumstances from that, which is why I keep a CO monitor, as well as a fire monitor, fire alarm in my shop. That way, if those levels get too high, it goes off and I know that I'm in trouble. But anyway, if you're in a semi-open space or someplace that's well ventilated, maybe you can open the garage door a little bit down low. Remember, hot air rises, so that should still hold most of that in. But just be aware, and I want you guys to be safe and not to end up, as my friend would say, not ending up as a headline. Anyway, there you go. That is our choices for the best shop heaters and space heaters for your home, for other places. Again, remember, you're going to be limited by the connection that you have if you're going with electric. If you do go with propane, again, please be safe. You don't want to end up being sorry. We got links to everything down below. Check out the article over on the New York Times, so maybe you can get somebody else's point of view as well. That's all I got for you today. If you got a moment while you're down there making a comment or something, why don't you go ahead and chomp the old like button, smash that subscribe, ring the bell on the way out, so make sure you get notified. Till next time, you all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.